Well, if it isn't another AI-generated nightmare creeping out of the digital swamp. The Infected Rise, No Escape, sounds like a title that could have been pulled straight from the bottom of my bog after a heavy rain. Honestly, how many zombie apocalypse videos do we need? I mean, at this point, even the Indeed are rolling their eyes, but here we are, diving into episode 5 of this thrilling saga that probably has more plot holes than a toad has warts. I can already feel the excitement, if by excitement, you mean the urge to roll my eyes into the next dimension. So grab your popcorn, or whatever it is you kids snack on these days, and brace yourselves for some classic overhyped nonsense. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell, because apparently that's how you keep the zombies at bay. Or something like that. Let's jump in and see if this one can manage to impress this old toad. But I'm not holding my breath.
Previously in the Infected Rise. It's been a year since the pandemic starts. It's time for me to stop hiding. But now I have to worry about the undead and other survivors.
Yes, nothing says survival like a dramatic shot of a flaming forest. Because when you're worried about the Indeed and other survivors, clearly the best course of action is to set the whole place ablaze. I mean, who needs a subtle approach when you can just turn the woods into a bonfire? This video stinks worse than my bog after a rainstorm, and I'm not just talking about the visuals.
Everything became a race for survival.
Is there any survivor out there? If anyone hears this, head up to Montana. We have food and shelter. Over.
Now, my journey to Montana begins.
If there is anyone out there who survived, head to Montana. We have food and shelter. Be safe and watch your back. The undead are everywhere, and the government is hunting survivors. Here is Montana. Over.
saw some undead. Most of them are frozen, but some managed to walk.
The classic frozen indeed trope. Because nothing screams originality like zombies that can't even be bothered to thaw out. I guess when the apocalypse hits, even the Indeed need a break. But really, if they can manage to shuffle around in the cold, what's next? A zombie ice skating competition? This whole scenario is about as fresh as last week's leftovers.
Some managed to walk even further. They're getting closer each day.
Daniel, you can't go.
Oh great. Now we have the classic we're all going to die moment with a side of heartwarming campfire chat. Because nothing says impending doom like a cozy little chat in the snow. I can just picture it. Hey kid, how about we discuss our survival plans while the Indeed are literally creeping up on us? This scene is so cliche it could be a poster for how to survive the apocalypse 101. At this rate, I'm half expecting a motivational speech about teamwork and friendship.
You can't go alone outside the camp. It is very dangerous. I told you 1,000 times. Stay inside.
Easy, stranger. You suffered an accident. You were pretty injured when I found you.
The classic mysterious stranger saves the day trope. Because nothing says trust like waking up in a cabin with a guy who looks like you just walked off a survivalist magazine cover. I mean, sure, he's got the rugged look down, but I can't help but wonder if he's more of a threat than the Indeed outside. This whole setup is giving me serious don't trust anyone vibes. If I were that injured stranger, I'd be more worried about what's lurking in that guy's backpack than the zombies outside.
You will need to rest to gain back your power.
Where am I? What happened to me? Who are you?
The classic amnesia moment. Because nothing says, I'm in a life or death situation, like waking up and having no clue where you are or what happened. It's like the writer's thought. Let's throw in some confusion to spice things up. Meanwhile, the guy in the corner looks like he's ready to jump into a video game or something. I half expect him to pull out a sword and start slicing through the Indeed like it's a Saturday morning cartoon. This scene is so overdone, it's practically a meme at this point.
Who are you?
I am Carl, the leader of this camp. I saved you from the car accident you had. Eat. Rest. I want to show you something later. I built this camp for my family when the undead started to attack and spread chaos. And in 1 year, I tried to help and save as many people I could. Across the mountains, there is a military bunker filled with rich people and military personnel. When the pandemic started, the rich and some parts of the government went.
The classic rich people hoarding resources angle. Because when the world goes to hell, you can always count on the wealthy to barricade themselves in a bunker while the rest of us are left to fend off the Indeed. It's like a twisted version of a survival game, where the rich get richer. And the rest of us are just trying to survive on whatever scraps we can find. This whole scenario is so predictable, it's practically a script for a bad reality show. I can already hear the dramatic music playing in the background.
Went into these bunkers for cover, and the rest of us were let to die. The zombies never reach this far, but sometimes some get close and attack people who go outside. Most of them freeze and can't move anymore. In 2017, there was a meeting where the elites decided that there were too many, and they needed to reduce the population on this planet, or we would run out of resources. They decided to use a virus. That was a clean solution. 95% of the population would have died from it without destroying the environment. They chose China to engineer and release the virus, which happened around the end of 2020. Nobody knows exactly. As soon as the virus was ready and started to spread, they came up with a solution to vaccinate the entire population. But
the classic vaccine conspiracy angle. Because when the world is falling apart, why not throw in a plot twist about a vaccine that's somehow worse than the virus itself? It's like they're trying to make a horror movie out of real-life fears. I can already see the headlines. Vaccination or zombie apocalypse, choose your fighter. This is the kind of absurdity that makes me want to croak in disbelief. If only the writers put as much effort into originality as they did into recycling tired tropes.
But the actual killer was this miraculous antivirus. Most of the people accepted, but some were skeptical and started to question. 2 years later, Russia invaded Ukraine in order to switch the attention from the pandemic to war. With the pretext of helping Ukraine fight the aggression, they spent billions, but the money wasn't going there. They were building secret bunkers around the world and the country. The rich, elites, and some government officials were preparing in secret for the apocalypse that they started. These bunkers are huge and luxury. They are supposed to last 50 years when people started to become restless. Presidents around the globe started to do huge gatherings to calm the population, pretend and act like everything was okay.
Do not worry, America.
As the world spiraled into
The classic politicians pretending everything is fine scene. Because when the world is crumbling, the best solution is to gather everyone for a nice photo op and some empty promises. It's like they think a smile and a wave will magically fix the apocalypse. Meanwhile, the rest of us are just trying to survive while they play dress up in front of the cameras. This is about as genuine as a toad in a tuxedo. If only they spent as much time addressing real issues as they do on their PR stunts, maybe we wouldn't be in this mess.
Spiraled into chaos. Allies became enemies, and friendships shattered under the weight of deception. The government, pushing ruthless policies, turned the people against themselves, fueling a war of division. While the masses were consumed by their own battles, a few saw the truth. They tried to warn the world, to fight back, but they were silenced before their voices could rise. Around February 2024, first patients started to transform. Doctors had no idea what was happening and why, and only a handful knew the truth. Soon, chaos started in hospitals, as they were the first places attacked.
Well, here we go. Nothing like a good old-fashioned hospital horror scene to really set the mood. It's like they took every zombie movie cliché and crammed it into one shot. You've got the frantic doctors, the chaotic atmosphere, and of course, the grotesque patient on the table. It's almost like they're trying to win an award for most over-the-top medical emergency. I can't help but wonder if they even bothered to check if the guy was just having a bad day, or if he really was a zombie. This is the kind of absurdity that makes me want to croak in disbelief.
Chaos spilled into the streets, spreading like wildfire. Confusion reigned as the army...
Ah yes, the classic zombie outbreak in the hospital scene. Because nothing says we're in trouble, like a blood-soaked lunatic sprinting down the hallway. It's like they took a page right out of the How to Make a Zombie Movie handbook. It can practically hear the dramatic music swelling in the background. And let's be real, if chaos is spreading like wildfire, why is everyone still standing around? This is the kind of moment that makes you question the survival instincts of the characters. If I were there, I'd be out the door faster than a toad escaping a rainstorm.
As the army, unaware of the true threat, mobilized to fight the undead. Desperate to restore order, they scrambled to evacuate civilians, guiding them to fortified military bases. But with every passing moment, the lines blurred between enemy and ally, truth and deception. The real war was just beginning. Special forces started to evacuate the rich and elites following the governments that were already in bunkers. Soon the cities got overrun by the undead, and everything became...
Well, look at that. The classic indeed overrun the city moment. It's like they're checking off every box on the zombie apocalypse bingo card. You've got the terrified civilian, the looming threat outside, and the dramatic lighting that screams. This is the end. Honestly, if I were in that car, I'd be more worried about the guy trying to get in than the zombies outside. The scene is so predictable it's practically a parody at this point. If they're going for suspense, they might want to try a little harder. Because this is about as tense as a toad on a hot rock.
And everything became dead. Those who managed to survive fled into nature. Mountains, swamps, lakes, anywhere the undead couldn't reach. chaos continued for days as the undead took over the cities, and the entire country was in darkness. Some officials and military personnel that wasn't aware of the plan of the elites tried to fight the undead, but in a couple of weeks, they got wiped out. Nobody could stop them. A year later, those from the bunker started to exit and kill the undead. But soon they found out there were others who survived and were a threat to their new world order. Son, I must go now. Our south fence is being breached. When I come back, we will talk. There are more survivors out there who need help. Needs us.
The classic breach at the fence moment. Because what's a zombie apocalypse without a dramatic scene where the undead are literally clawing at the gates? It's like they're auditioning for a horror movie. And let's not forget the heroic speech about helping other survivors. Because nothing says, let's save the world like a guy running off to face a horde of zombies. I can already hear the dramatic music swelling. The scene is so over the top, it's practically begging for a slow motion replay. If I were that guy, I'd be more worried about what's on the other side of that fence than playing the hero. Well, that was a delightful romp through the digital swamp, wasn't it? The infected rise. No Escape had just about every zombie cliche you could imagine, and I had the pleasure, if you can call it that, of pointing them out one by one, from Escape the horror of a flaming forest to the droning repetition of amnesia and mysterious saviors. It's like the writers decided to host a how-to clinic for tired tropes. Now, let's talk expectations. Did this mind-numbing episode impress this old toad? Not even close. If I had a wart for every plot hole, I could start a small farm. Even those poor zombies out there probably would rather stick their heads in the mud than deal with this recycled nonsense. In conclusion, if you're searching for originality in a world where zombie stories feel more stale than last week's spread, look elsewhere. This installment is so predictable that you could recite it backwards after one viewing. But hey, at least it gave me a chance to croak about it. So, before you scuttle off to find something less eye-roll inducing, remember to like this video, because clearly we need to support any effort to connect to the outside world. Don't forget to subscribe as well, because who wouldn't want to keep up with my ongoing battle against digital mediocrity? Until next time, let's hope the next video smells better than the bog I'm stuck in.